Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good.
No, go ahead. Finish your story. I'll edit this out.
I did that with some guy in San Antonio. He ran a podcast business or whatever. Like he's a veteran. He's like, yeah, man, I'd love to have you on the podcast. And we went on there and did it. And he goes, don't worry, man, I'll edit this out. Say what you want to say. At the very end, he goes, well, that was way too smooth. I'm not going to edit anything. And I was like,
Well, the difference is
edit
most
it, though. Like,
most podcast hosts have a co-host that do the editing and do those kind of things. And so
wish we knew a guy.
I wish I knew a guy that could do it. It's called ChatGPT now, I guess. But
Wow.
all right, so we're live now. So hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Last episode was episode 12 with Josh Adams when we were talking about veteran homelessness. So right now it's kind of a perfect transition to kind of introduce these guys that we have here as special guests. We have Justin Hanenberg, Sean Criswell, Ty Fletcher, and obviously, you know, Andrew Pratt, the co-host. But what I want to do real quick for you gentlemen is allow you guys, 3 to 5 minutes to kind of talk about your military service and then kind of your story and kind of how you came to be here today, as well as say, first off, Happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to all of you guys out there that served and that continue to serve. And this should be a good one for you. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Justin, also known as Poyo.
What's going on, y'all? Justin Hanenberg, also known as Poyo Mountain, for those gamers out there. Born and raised in California, just turned 31. So I'm probably the young bunch of this group. Joined the military in the Air Force back in 2012. So I just hit my 11-year mark. Spent my first 3 to 4 years in Washington State, and then got a deployment with Red Horse Prime Beef, which is the CE equivalent of being badass in civil engineering. Halfway through that deployment, got orders to Ramstein Air Base, Germany, where I was stationed with the 1st Communications Squadron. So we did communications all across Europe and Africa, which was awesome because our deployment window was 24 hours from the phone call to the plane. After that assignment, I got orders to wonderful Minot, North Dakota, which I respectively declined. And they said, well, if you're going to decline those orders, you're going to go be a military training instructor or an MTI or a DS, drill sergeant, down in wonderful San Antonio, Texas. So I went down to San Antonio, Texas, did MTI duty for about 4 years, pushed 16 flights out there. It was definitely the longest 4 years of my life. And then got orders to wonderful sunny Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, which is where I'm currently residing on the beach. So we got 40 miles of beach land on base. It's amazing. Our own gun range. Can't beat Space Force living. No, sorry for my Navy or my Army and Marine Corps friends, but it's not a bad place to end up for the next 4 to 6 years. So other than that, Air Force, got about 8 years left till retirement. Can't wait. Love playing video games. I'm also now the board chair of this wonderful No Lone Wolves, which is where I originally met Ty Fletcher, Andrew Pratt, etc. I know some of us go back a little bit on another nonprofit sector where we kind of met each other before in different cities, different states. But I'm looking forward to setting up No Lone Wolves and just having a great time helping homeless veterans and helping veterans, retirees, and active duty across the United States, hoping to expand overseas. So
Perfect. I think we go over to Sean. Sean, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
All right. My name is Sean. Army. Unfortunately, have to sit next to Chair Force this side. I don't know if anybody else is having the same issue, but Gunny's camera keeps cutting in and out. So is that just my side?
We can't hear your audio now, Brian.
it's because he's muted.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so my name is Sean, U.S. Army. 7 years, 5 days, nobody counts. Combat duty tours, combat operation tours, whatever you want to call them. Iraq, Afghanistan. I was a 68 whiskey combat medic, as well as an LPN, licensed practical nurse. I don't know where else to talk about that. To be honest, I miss it. Today's a very humbling day. It is Veterans Day. I want to thank everybody out there for their service, even though sometimes it feels kind of strange to think, given the background on it. But the sacrifices that our brothers and sisters make in the line of duty, in service for this country, go far beyond the words of gratitude that I could offer. So thank you, everybody, for taking that opportunity to be able to serve your country and stand beside your peers. Like Hanenberg said over here, Justin, I'm the secretary for No Lone Wolves, which is the 501c3 not-for-profit that we're all together in. And I'm looking forward to the opportunities to be able to serve people further, every day. It's a hard thing walking outside the house sometimes. And, we all go through different transitions and struggles in our life and at different phases for different reasons. It could be a marriage or having kids or joining the service or dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, or many different things. But there's nothing more heartbreaking than walking outside the front door and looking at a veteran on the side of the road pleading for help, and most people turning their nose up and walking past them. Having worn that uniform and put our boots in the same sand, we know that struggle. We know that life. We know that challenge. And just taking the time for some people just to sit down and be able to, and this warms my heart every time when I start a conversation with somebody and I'm able to hear a little bit about their story. How'd they get there? What are they doing? What services do they need? And then getting together with, Brian and Ty and Justin and Andrew and being able to discuss those things. How can we help? What's really happening out there that we can help with? What phase of that part of their life are they in? What services do they need? What connections? What resources? What are the problems in being able to attain those things that are already available out there? So I'm looking forward to be able to see how this grows, where we can take it. The sky is really the limit. And I want to just thank you guys for the opportunity to be able to sit on this board, to be able to sit within this organization and be able to serve that purpose. From a very young age, I responded. I was like 12. I didn't respond. I showed up to the scene of a car accident where my niece and nephew were almost killed. And very graphic scene. My nephew died twice on scene, but they were able to bring him back to life, and thankfully still with us today. But that was the point where I realized that I wanted to do something greater to be able to help people. I wanted to be that guy to be able to save life. And pursuing that dream led me into a path in the military, where I've saved some, but I've lost more. And those are the ones that I remember. And it's been a real challenge. It's been a real struggle. But then, looking at it and realizing that I still have a purpose. I still have a need, and so do our brothers and sisters that are out there. They still have a purpose. They still have a need. And sometimes you have to make it through those challenges to be able to realize what your purpose is. Maybe that purpose has changed. Maybe it's got to be approached in a different way. How can we help guide you to get to that point? So thank you guys for this opportunity. And I'm so grateful and honored to be here. So with that, I pass to Fletch.
Appreciate you, Sean. Yeah, I mean, overall, again, just thankful for everyone who served before us. I'm currently a gunnery sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. I've been in for 12 years now. So Brian's the senior gunny. He's got me by 8 years. He's on his way out the door. So I've got to follow those footsteps. But I mean, they're the people that came before Brian, obviously. And, we stand on their shoulders. Same with, Pollo in the Air Force, Tarlin in the Army. I mean, but my dad was Army. My stepmother is a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. Family in just about every branch. So no one was really shocked when I joined the military. It was more of just what branch is he going to join? And I'll never forget when my recruiter hopped out. And as soon as you saw that blood stripe on those nice blue pants, my dad looked at me and said, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Yes, sir." And he laughed and said, "Okay," and it was all downhill from there. So just eternally grateful for the opportunity to continue doing this and moving into No Lone Wolves. I mean, it's almost a selfish endeavor. Not selfish in that I'm trying to look out for myself, but as I just said, so many people in my family, so many close friends. My wife is a veteran. So obviously, seeing what they deal with and seeing the struggles that can come out of nowhere. Yeah, I mean, really can come out of nowhere and just destabilize your entire life just out of the blue. And all those plans you thought you had, all those goals that you set and met that you thought had you good to go, fly out the window the second you get punched in the mouth by the real world. Kind of inspired me to want to do something. And that's when I talked to Brian and I said, "Hey, I kind of want to do a nonprofit." And he's like, "Well, what are you saying? Flesh that out." And I'm like, "Well, you're going to have to give me time to flesh that out because I don't know. I'm talking off the top of my head." And that's when No Lone Wolves kind of came along and I brought the idea and he said, "Hey, I think I've got some people that would help with this," and met all of you guys, which I mean, if we had to pick an A team to get it done, I think we've got that team. And of course, we're just going to add and recruit more down the line to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. But at the end of the day, my biggest goal with all of this from the second I said to Brian that I wanted to do something was treating the symptoms, but also trying to treat the cause. And that's going back to the root and finding out what is destabilizing people coming straight out of the military, smoothing out that process, making sure that they're provided the resources, the benefits, the tools that they need to succeed, and make sure that they're aware of them, they know how to utilize them properly, and that they actually do. That was my biggest thing. And now having that opportunity, growing as we've grown, I feel like we've grown very well for just getting ourselves set up as a 501c3 and actually being recognized and starting to grow the network and starting to reach out to individuals. We've had people message us, very early into the program, and I wasn't shocked because I was like, yeah, that's how many people have questions. I had someone reach out to me within the last 24 hours that said, "I can't get my appointment with the VA. I've been waiting for over a year to get this appointment to try to get my claim in. I haven't done any exams yet. What do I do?" And to be able to point them in the right direction and just be that middleman, I was like, man, we're already starting to make a change. Even if it's something this big, that's that pebble on the road that could have blown that guy's tire out. And the next time I saw him, I might not have recognized him. So that's the stuff that gets me excited and motivated to do this. Like I said, it's selfish. I love my friends and my family, and I want to make sure that they never get put in that situation. And hopefully, if I do that, I'll never end up in that situation, and they'll get to enjoy me as well. So, yeah. Over to Andrew.
That's good stuff. Hey, and I appreciate every last one of you. As some of y'all may know, I'm Andrew. I'm the co-host of the Righteous Dad podcast along with Brian. I think today is most appropriate day for us to record this particular podcast. It's been a while since we've recorded one, and on this special day, on Veterans Day, we are introducing we're introducing our nonprofit, No Lone Wolves. along with the board members of all of the founders of No Lone Wolves. And I think this is the best day to do it. I am the only one on the board who did not serve in the military, but I do have a background in having a military family. My grandfather drove Sherman tanks in World War II. My father served in Vietnam, and I was the first one to not join the military, and it's always been a little bit of a regret of mine. But I am very happy to be on the board of No Lone Wolves and to help serve veterans and to be a veteran supporter. I think everybody here on the board, we all bring our own special gifts and talents. And I mean, every last one of you have your own gifts. Like Ty was saying, No Lone Wolves was the brainchild of his and Brian. They came together, put their heads together. Brian assembled the Avengers and brought the rest of us together. All the gifts that I've seen so far, I've seen Polo. He has the gift of recruiting resources. Sean, you didn't give yourself enough credit. You got your own podcast that you do, the Coffee Talk, and everybody here is very resourceful. I'm very, very happy to be working with you guys to help grow this nonprofit. So I'm looking forward to working with every last one of y'all. Can't hear you, Brian.
Please pardon these technological difficulties. He's ordnance, so love him to death, but we're gonna have to give him a second.
So, Sean, I got a question for you while Brian figures this out.
You can't hear me?
There we go.
There you go.
I had to click off and on. So I got all excited and shit when I seen all your pretty faces, and when we hit the record button, and I smashed my knee right into my desktop. So I apologize for the technical difficulties, or maybe it was I just wasn't using my fucking Marine voice yet. But yeah, like a couple of things that I heard that I really wanted to catch back on before I kind of forgot was, Sean was talking about saving some and losing some. And I think that's huge when it comes to what we're trying to do as a nonprofit is we're not going to be able to save everybody. And Ty kind of said it perfect. You have, the actual problem, but you have symptoms. So, this nonprofit, this idea of what we're trying to do, there's a lot of branches and a lot of things that we can affect, and there's going to be cause and effect with each one. But we have to be careful not to cause any more problems within that community. So this has been a long time in the making. We've been actually working on this for quite a few months now. We just haven't really talked about it or done anything like this as a podcast to kind of the unveiling or the showcasing of what we're trying to do. And what Andrew said was kind of perfect. To be able to do this on Veterans Day, to be able to get the 501c3 designation like well before what we were planning on doing. They originally planned about 8 to 10 months. We ended up getting it in 2 months, which was kind of crazy. Even the legal team said this was a lot faster, but that just shows you how we were able to write it up and how to implement everything. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't have ability or issues in the future, as well as pivoting and different things and things that we want to do. But I wanted to take the time, and I know, Ty, you said, hey, as we transition, and my biggest thing with this podcast was thinking about transitions in life. And you don't have to be in the military to go through hard transitions, whether it's losing a job, whether it's getting divorced, whether it's losing a family member, whether it's having something significant happen in your life where you really need to have people in a team, like an A team, around you in order to overcome some of those challenges. Ultimately, with the process of separating from the military, whether you do retirement or you do 4 years, there's going to be a transition. There's going to be a lot of information that's thrown at you that you're going to have to drink really fast. Myself, Ty said I'm an old man. I thought everybody was in their 40s, but come to find out that's not the case. I'm the oldest one here, believe it or not. But I'm going to be walking that process on transitioning in the military in July, which is almost a perfect time to really be foundational part of a nonprofit that is trying to help those that are doing it. I think there's a wealth of knowledge here. There's a wealth of knowledge with Sean. Sean I can't I think they said you don't give yourself enough credit. You're wise. You should be the 60-year-old here in this A team. And I was actually shocked that I'm older than you are, just by the wisdom and the way you talk and the way you conduct yourself. So it's kind of good to be able to walk this process, because I'm going to be struggling, even though, I'm trying to help a nonprofit help others. So is it selfish of me to start a nonprofit so I don't become homeless? Maybe it is, right? So, because I'm going to be doing the same stuff, but I'm very excited to have all you guys here. And I wanted to kind of just open up the discussion on whatever you want to do. I mean, we already hit the main topic points, is just the introduction. But I'll ask you guys, we talk about transitioning. What do you guys see? How do you guys see No Lone Wolves in the future? And what are those things, if we could say 5 years from now, where would we want to be? And I'll let whoever wants to raise their hand first kind of jump at that one.
I mean, man, I think we have so many good ideas. I think we got Six Sigma, green belts, black belts. We got a variety of Air Force, Army, Marine Corps in just one small group chat right now, right? I think we have so many ideas that are going to implode in the next 2 to 3 years. From the conversation that we've had about wolf packs and puppy packs and all the things that we have, like ideas like of brainstorming and like process improvements, I think it's only a matter of time before we kind of just blow up. And kind of like I think what Sean or what Andrew said earlier is, or maybe it was Ty. We have the A team here, and we have so many great ideas. It's now just time to hammer down and get those ideas now out, if that makes sense. And I think this 3 to 5 year plan, I think it's going to be phenomenal. I think we're on the verge of doing good things, not necessarily with the community, but with the veteran community as well. So I'm excited. I'm happy to be a part of this. So,
yeah, no, and when it comes to that, I'd have to agree. Like, I think that we have so many good ideas in place that we almost have to fight to make sure that we're doing things in an effective order, because we'll get excited. And I know Sean, we talked about the wisdom. He's the one that'll snatch that fishing pole, rip that hook into your lip and say, hey, calm down, guy. We got other things we have to take care of before we get to the giant fish, right? But I have to agree with Pollo. I think there's so much motivation. Obviously, there's so much necessity for it out there that I think if we get this if we do it in the right order, it's going to explode, because there's not one person that's, hurt by it. It's just benefiting, and it's seeing how we can benefit the largest amount of people, make the most positive effect on their life, whether it's we've talked about everything from mowing an old retired veteran's lawn who can't quite do it anymore, to trying to facilitate packs full of aid and food and gear for homeless veterans to make sure that they have what they need. I mean, and everything in between. So
Yeah,
I agree.
we could mow their grass with like silkies on or something. You know what I mean?
I think the prophet Brian Scoggins once said is, it's not a matter of when,
Yeah,
we're gonna take off. And if it's in a year from now, if it's in 3-4 years from now, I think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So
what about you, Sean? Where do you see us in the next 2 to 5 years?
So I think it's interesting. Everybody kind of touched on it, but I think in 5 years, I see us as a household name. I see us as a commonality, a way of life for people, a walk of life for people. Because there's a lot of organizations out there that are doing great things, but Brian, you touched on it. It's the symptoms, and what I found in my own experience, my own walk through my transition and my growth is a lot of these programs and organizations, they give you a tool or a resource to help with the symptoms. Let's focus on the root cause. The symptoms are very important. We have to treat the symptoms. But when it comes down to being able to provide quality of life and improvements and facilitation for somebody to be able to really achieve their goals in life, we have to sustain management for the root cause. Let's catch them before they get to the point where, you know, they're laid up on a street with a needle in their arm, or drowning in the bottom of a bottle taken out by ambulance to somewhere and nobody's showing up because they just don't know them anymore. Like, that focus that's there, you know, and in doing this, what do we build? You know, we are no lone wolves. And what is that? That is the wolf pack. We built this, you know, brotherhood and sisterhood, this family where, you know, people have that environment that they can go to, that community, you know, and to become a household name is so much more than just, oh, people are aware of us. No, people are a part of us. You know, if somebody contributes to the organization, they're not contributing money to a 501c3. They're facilitating the assistance that's needed for the community that it serves, and thereby are becoming part of that same community. You know, the name No Lone Wolves in itself is so much more than just a name. You know, everybody who is involved is part of that family, and thereby, you know, in 5 years, I really hope we are. I hope we're a household name. I hope that we're in every street across America, and people are coming together, you know, under that name, under that cause, and facilitating that curative approach towards all of the issues that are going on for veterans. You know, and with that, that's in collaboration, hopefully in 5 years, with all of the organizations that are out there. You know, because again, to say no lone wolves, that means that, you know, all these other organizations that are facilitating assistance, we have to be a part of them, and they have to be a part of us as well. That is the community that I know that we've spoken on so many times that we're striving to build here. Is everything. It's called charity because you build it to give it away. You know, so that's where I see us in 5 years, and I'm so excited, man. I got goosebumps talking about it because it's gonna work. It's gonna work.
Yeah, I think the big part too with like nonprofits and things like that, I think is a lot of resources and a lot of money as they talk about. But really how I envisioned the No Lone Wolves is just that, the name No Lone Wolves, that people do not feel like they're alone. They don't feel like they're not a part of the wolf pack. So when it comes to you know, inspiring those in different sectors and different communities to have this mindset, to try to build a community, to try to help each other by peers, by mentors, or whatever it is, transition stuff. We all have knowledge, but the problem is that knowledge gets compartmentalized in certain spots. And I think as we transition out, a lot of service members, they lose that connection to,
That
say, let's
brotherhood.
say the matrix, right? To those big brothers, those people that have the resources or have the answers and things like that. And then once, you know, a couple of things happen, just hope is kind of gone. They don't have people, as those life transitions happen, they don't have anybody to talk to. They don't have a feeling of togetherness. And I think we discussed this, me and Andrew, a couple of times, where the reason why we wanted to do this Righteous Dad podcast is a lot of the same reasons why we want to do the nonprofit, to inspire, to grow, to help people, because the symptoms and the problems are all different, but the root problem is the happiness and the life choices that I think people are making every day. Like today, you know, a while ago I tried the cold plunge, and Andrew was like, congrats, man, because he was already doing the cold plunge for a while. And he goes, that's awesome. You did the cold plunge. But he goes, good job. But talk to me when you do your second cold plunge. Right? Because he goes, now you know how hard that shit's going to be because you went through it. Right? And do you want to hit it again? And sometimes that can be the same thing with dealing with our issues. It can hurt. And then having those conversations can hurt. We might not want to do it again. How many months has it been? It's been a lot of months. But this morning, you know, I was like, screw this. I'm going to wash that out after the one-time use, got it all ready. And then today I decided how much better I feel. And those are some of the things, like, you know, even for me, depression and those thoughts come up. I feel in a rut, but I'm telling you right now, just doing that cold plunge by itself kind of helped pep me up. You know what I mean? And this kind of stuff right here, bringing a couple of guys together, and it doesn't have to be recorded, doesn't have to be broadcasted, but just having these conversations like we've done in the past, and with Sean's coffee talk and those kind of things, that's what it's all about. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be resources. It doesn't have to be handouts. What most people need is that person that they can talk to, the person that they feel a friend, the person that's going to be more than anything. And as we hit the streets and we try to resolve some issues with people that are directly affected by homelessness, most likely they're going to want someone to talk to more than it is, hey, buy me a meal or buy me some beer. But that's what we need to look at, and I think that's what we need to kind of grow. I'll let somebody else chime in too with that.
No, I 100% agree. And that was one thing that I think Sean just said too, is that when Ty initially came to me with this idea and Gunny was, hey, we're going to do our own nonprofit. Do you want to be a part of it? And I was like, what's it called? And you were like, No Lone Wolves. And I was like, first of all, fuck yes.
Yeah, shout out to Ty on that. That's his shit, and I'll say it right now. Like,
yeah, my bad. I'm gonna. I know it's not the Oprah show, but I'm gonna cuss.
It was actually pups, but
oh yeah.
So y'all were like, hey, we're gonna start this nonprofit called No Lone Wolves, and I was like, tell me more. And initially, my first thought is the squadron that I pushed flights out of in basic military training was the Wolfpack, the 331st Wolfpack, and I was like, you know what? Fuck. I'm already committed now. Like the Wolfpack already has a name for itself in basic training in the Air Force. I'm sold. But then another thing that Sean brought up was the root cause. And I think the root cause is a very big thing. I mean, I've been through, multiple divorces now. I've been through some other things in life that have challenges. And as an MTI, you could tell someone, hey, you didn't do a right face correctly. Well, why? Well, the root cause is because you didn't pivot on the ball of your right foot, or the root cause is because. So what? So like, I think finding the root cause in all of this stuff is how you're going to help veterans and how we're going to help people in the long run. Is what is the root cause of our problems, and that's something that we need to, not us, but like individuals need to identify, right? So
individuals.
Yeah, obviously, like after my second divorce, I was like, hey. Is the issue me? What is the root cause? What is causing these issues? And being able to actually self-reflect and find out what the root cause of these issues are is going to make us better people in the long run. But at the same time, obviously, these mistakes have made us to who we are today. But being able to identify those root causes up front is going to help us dramatically in the long run. So.
And I also think part of identifying this root cause is, and call me crazy if you think, but when I look at the current transition process right now, all right, Tarlin, imagine the transition process you went through, right? What year did you get out?
2013.
2013, right? Brian, you're going through the transition process currently, right? So that's 2023. That's a 10-year gap. Let's back it up 10 more years, 2003, 10 more years, 1993. How much has changed?
Yeah.
And that's my thing. How much realistically has the names of some things have changed? How has the process changed? Like you go through the steps, you get all of this wealth of information thrown at you, but what happens to that wealth of information? I can tell you right now, if I go in my closet, there is a black folder. Right? It is my wife's from when she transitioned out of the Marine Corps. Now, luckily, my wife has done well for herself. I'm just using this as a case example. How many people will say, I have this problem and I can't find the answer? The answer is in the black folder. But they threw all of that knowledge in that black folder. It is in the back of a closet or rotting in a landfill somewhere. And now they don't have access to it, or they don't think they have access to it, or that they don't have the means to find it. To me, one of the main points of failure in all of this process is the fact that people don't think that they have a method of getting this information anymore. They've gotten it, they've lost it. They don't know where to go. And that's why one of the first focal points I wanted was the networking. And that's where the No Lone Wolves came from. You're not a lone wolf. We're going to bring you into the pack. If you have a question, someone here has dealt with it. That's the beautiful thing about the military. Like it is crazy and wild, and there are a million ways that things can happen, but someone has gone through what you've gone through before. Someone's been divorced. Someone's been divorced twice. Someone's been divorced 7 times. Like whatever the case is, someone's there that has the resources that you need. Someone has, gotten out in California and moved back home to North Carolina. How can I land on my feet? Well, I did the same thing. And there's this program that's local to this area. And so it's updating that process by adding just millions of contacts, a network of wolves in this wolf pack that you post this question: how do I, how can I, what do I? And you've got responses coming from people who have been through that situation. You're getting answered with resources, which is one of the things that I attempt to do on the Facebook and the social media side. I post resources and I try to find resources that people don't know about or that they've forgotten about. And then they look at it and they're like, oh, wow, that could be really beneficial. And to me, that's one of the first things we can really do to address these symptoms, is giving someone that information and the ability to find the information.
So my question for you, Ty, you being the chief technology guy here within the organization, what is the easiest way to ask those questions? Would that be on Facebook? Would that be on a website? What would be the easiest to get a good response?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about these days. I mean, we have multiple networks already established. We have the Facebook, we have the Instagram, we have Twitter, like TikTok. We can do anything. And if
Discord.
you want Discord, if you want to go to a group, you can go to a group and you can throw a giant net. If you have something that you think, I don't want to post this on a page, or post it, message us. We'll try to find you the resource. I will sit there and research until I find you the resource you need if you don't want this blasted out in the open.
And then Ty will make a TikTok video answering that question that a replay.
Yeah, just making and just whatever I need to do to help you out. I'll embarrass myself. I don't care. But that's the thing. Like I'll post the question. I'm asking this anonymously for someone else, and we'll get the answer. No one will link it to you. Any way you can get the information, I want to get it to you. We want to get it to you. And that's the benefit that we're going for.
Well, hopefully Brian, as he edits this video down the road, he puts all of the social media down in the description below. But at the same time, I think a lot of people overlook the whole networking thing. And that's a thing about the military is this, I don't want to say this new generation coming in, right? But this new generation coming in is you need to learn how to network, because you're always going to have someone there that's been through some situation or some shit that you don't think you've been through. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I always tell my new troops, right? Because now that I'm back in the operational Air Force, I lead that conversation with my troops. Hey, up front, hey, I've been divorced twice. I've been, accused of quote unquote of domestic violence. I've been accused of, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If you're going through an issue, trust me, I've either been through it or I know someone that's been through that issue. And working in a comm squadron, I feel like a lot of comm guys, or commo, I think is what the Army calls it now, right? Commo. A lot of comm guys just want to sit in their room and play video games on the weekends and drink beer, which is cool. Hey, each to their own, but we need to add some more tools to our toolbox. And I hate that saying, but our toolbox and networking is going to help us in the long run for a career, for a healthy lifestyle. And we got to know our pillars. We got to know our emotional, our physical, our spiritual pillars, because all those things interact in the long run. And once those pillars go down, I mean, it's going to be a long road. So that's what we're here for at No Lone Wolves, is to help build or recreate or shed light on those pillars to help you get through those darkest times. So
absolutely.
I think it's interesting because in the conversation that we're having right now, it reminds me of a conversation I had with Brian, and I can't tell you how many times me and this guy stayed up till like 1-2 o'clock in the morning my time, just trying to figure out all the nuances and all the big problems. And I love you, Brian. You're a big thinker. You think way out here, and it's incredible to be able to hear it. But there was a quote that you had told me that rang in, and it's something I've actually incorporated into a lot of the way that I'm doing these things. And I had to look it up so I don't, say it wrong. But it says the opposite of love is not hate; it's indifference, by Eli Wiesel. And this is a guy, you want to talk about surviving just absolute just things that my brain can't even comprehend. I mean, to be a Holocaust survivor, and then come forward and speak about it, and try to make those changes and be able to discuss it openly. And what he's saying in this, I've read his book, and I've done a lot of reading on this specific quote. But basically, he's saying that, the moment that we lose our humanity, the moment that we stop caring, the moment that we think that, oh, that's not really a problem, get over it. You mentioned a tire and a rock. For that person who rolled over that rock and blew a tire, that could be the biggest thing they've ever dealt with in their life. And for us, it could seem so minuscule. Change 5 bolts, spend 10 minutes, put a new tire on, or get a donut. But that apathetic approach to it could be detrimental to the way that they're living their life, And so when I think about this quote, I think about the things that we're trying to change, the way that we're trying to be able to look at everything in a different direction. Transitioning from service for, like you said, decades on top of decades has really been the same thing. Here's a coin, here's a piece of paper, here's a tap on the butt, and have a great day. Good luck to you out there. The world's a mean place. I hope you make it. And at that point, you're on your own. You have to be able to find your own direction, find your own resources, navigate through crazy waters. And that's what we're really trying to change. What if you were getting out of the service, and instead of just getting a coin, a piece of paper, and a handshake, you had somebody who met you at the gates that said, hey, right now you're probably thinking that this is going to be great. I remember driving. Once I left the post, I remember driving in flip-flop shorts and a T-shirt. Man, I was free. I didn't have to wear the boots and the uniform. It felt great. It was 72 hours later. I was bored out of my mind. I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. And that actually was one of the most chaotic experiences, because you're used to this pattern, this routine, and you're so excited to just be able to make your own choices. And yet there was really nobody there. Any friends or family from outside of the service I spoke to, they didn't quite understand why I was struggling with this. Man, enjoy the time off. Enjoy, just kick your feet up. No, this isn't okay. This isn't normal. Like, you felt like, your hope was gone. Your purpose was gone. Your motivating direction was just blown apart, and for everybody separates for different reasons. But that feeling is something I hear all the time that's familiar to people. Ty had to leave us, just so you guys know. He exited quietly. So, but I really like that quote. I'm glad that you told me. I remember to write it down that day when you did tell me, and I'm glad I did, because it changes the way I look at things. When I hold the door open for somebody at a gas station, I just say hello and have a good day. And I found more people want to have a conversation just for holding the door open with them. I mean, that just changes their life, their whole day, everything going on with it.
Dude, I 100% agree with that, because, like, there's been times where I'm at the gas station or I'm at the grocery store. I'm like, hey, you know what? I really like that shirt on you. And they're like, thank you. Or I'm like, hey, good morning. How are you? And they're like, you're the first person all day that said good morning. And I'm like, how? It's 2 p.m. You know what I mean? Like, and I think people just look for, you don't know what people are going through. And it's simple. I have a lab pit bull. My apologies.
You don't know what that dog's going through right now.
Right? You don't know what people are going through on a daily basis. So
tell them.
Yeah.
Y'all are hitting the nail on the head. You reminded me of this book. The most recent book that I read, it's called My Guy on the Ninth Floor. And that's one of the main points that he drives, is that you never know what anybody's going through. They might be having a bad day. It might be a bad interaction that you have with somebody. Somebody flips you off in traffic, or somebody you do hold the door open for somebody and they just don't even look at you or acknowledge you, and they just keep walking. It's not worth getting upset about. There's nothing that anybody else is doing has anything to do with you. It's you got to understand that, you know, you never know what somebody's going through, and it's not personal towards you. And all you can do is just try to make the best impression and do what's right, and try to help people up and lift people up every chance you get. So y'all are spitting straight flames right now and hitting the nail on the head with everything that you're saying. You know, I can't even really put into words how excited I am for No Lone Wolves and being able to have this brotherhood of other men that I can lean on. You know, knowing that like no matter what I'm going through in my life, you know, whatever transitions I've got going on, I've got things going on right now that, you know, I know I could call any one of you up and talk about. You know, so I think one of the things I'm most excited about with No Lone Wolves is knowing that our system of standards that we have, knowing that we are going to we're going to hold everything to the highest of standards. And, you know, anybody that we're associated with, we're going to have associated nonprofits that we're going to, you know, we develop relationships with. We're going to list them on our website. And, you know, everybody that we're associated with is going to go through a vetting process, make sure that they're holding themselves to the same standards that we're holding ourselves to. You know, are they transparent with their donations and where that money goes? Are they disclosing that information? There, you know, is there any possibility that there could be a scandal involved with these people that we're associated with? If so, then we're not going to, you know, name our association with them. We're not going probably won't even associate with them. You know, I know knowing that there's a vetting process and a standard that we're holding ourselves to that's so high, you know, and we're going to hold other people to those standards and hold each other to those standards, you know, and we're going to lift each other up, and everybody who is associated with us, that we are going to lift them up and bring them up higher. You know, that's what I'm most excited about with this organization, is knowing that we're gonna be the thermostat in a room full of thermometers. You know.
Yeah, to kind of add on that, I wanted to touch on something that Sean said with that quote. Is it definitely hit home for me, because when you're trying to look at this whole thing of, you know, veteran homelessness, veteran suicide, and all these problems that we have, it's easy to start saying, okay, well, if we just get them jobs, or if we get them resources, or we do these things. But to me, the biggest thing is fixing ourselves to the point where we don't feel like we want to turn a blind eye. And I think that's the main thing is that indifference, right? Getting rid of that indifference and wanting to help somebody else and wanting to do that, because ultimately that service is the cure to your depression. You know what I mean? So it's almost like a whole, I don't know if the word would be holistic approach to it, but it would be something that it's not like, okay, this doctor is going to give you this SSRI, or this person's going to give you these resources, or we're going to give you this wolf pack that's going to allow you to survive for a couple of days. But it's ability to get rid of this mind virus, which is, oh man, that guy should have probably worked harder, or, oh, that guy was just another service member that didn't open up that folder that was in the closet that had those resources. Well, he's an idiot. Or, you know what I mean? Because nowadays it's starting to get to the point where we're not together as much, even though we have the technology to be together. But now how do we inspire those individuals to want to serve, to want to help each other, to want to be a part of it, and make it in an easy way of doing so, whether it's a coffee talk, whether it's a Discord, whether it's jumping on Pollo's stream when he's Twitch streaming, playing video games with other service members, right? We have those avenues. But as we build this out and we map it, we're still going to need you guys that are listening to reach out. And that's why I asked the question to Ty, how can they get these questions out there? Because that way we can start providing those answers. And as that goes, it's a living entity. This podcast is a living entity. And as we snip and make smaller videos, all these questions can be asked, but it's not us that's fixing it. It's everybody out there that's going to fix the process. We can't fix it. We can only we can only fix our surroundings and try to be that beacon of light, that salt of the earth, to say, I'm here to listen, man. I'm here to listen. And what I see in the next 5 to 10 years is that the mind virus that is kind of going around where, oh, do you like Palestine? Do you like Israel? Do you like this? Do you like that? Do you like police? Do you like military? Are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? It doesn't matter. We're all human beings and we all have the same issues, right? And maybe some of those issues might not be big issues to some people, but like we said, we don't know. But to lend an ear, to have humanity is the biggest thing, and to inspire to be a better person every day is the only way all of this suffering is worthwhile. And how I look at it, hopefully that's the mental aspect of it. That's the inspirational aspect of it. We can use these resources, these ways of spreading the message. But what I would love to see is, as resources and people that want to donate to the cause, that want to be a part of it, that want to start doing little charters in their own little area, and to do partnerships with other nonprofits, I would love to see nothing more than to the idea of this to be a physical place where veterans and people that are struggling can come there and actually have physical contact with each other, can hug it out if they want to, can do jujitsu, can learn how to weld, TIG, MIG, weld, whatever, learn these different things, botany, growing stuff, learning how to cold plunge, learning how to get out there and get sunshine, learning how to put their feet on the actual ground, right, to positively charge their cellular, whatever, all that stuff that we watch, and that's on our viewing stuff all the time because we want that, but to live it, right? And that's what I would love to see in the next 5-10 years. And we need everybody out there to be a part of it, to try to get involved in some capacity, and be the change that they want to see in the world. I think what Andrew said a long time ago, right?
I hate this word, but to piggyback off of that, one of the biggest things that obviously No Lone Wolves and us just did is we just collaborated a little bit with Soldiers Angels out in San Antonio, Texas. Soldiers Angels provides aid, comfort, and resources to military veterans and their families. And what we actually did was we raised about 100 to 150 pounds of food from donations and volunteers, and we actually gave back to a veteran homeless shelter to provide all that food back to homeless veterans out in the San Antonio area. So collaborating with other 501 C3s and stuff like that is going to be a huge future, which is something that I love doing. As Gunny knows, I'm a very outgoing and personal person. Anywhere I go, I'm meeting new people. I'm like, hey, like, what do you do for fun? Oh, you have a podcast? Hey, join us. I have a nonprofit. And I'm always out there trying to push the better and bigger next thing with people. So that's just one of the many things we have planned in the near future, is to help kind of bridge that gap between other 501c3s, and especially down here in California, in the it's called Lompoc, one of the Lompoc areas down here in Vandenberg Space Force Base. We have a lot of other things going on with veterans, stuff like that, that I'm really hoping to push out, especially with the No Lone Wolves collaboration. So I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, we'll make sure to get their link to the Soldiers Angels and be able to push that stuff on the link description, so that if somebody wants to reach out to them or wants to make a donation, that's what this is all about. That's what, really what we're trying to push, is just not only spread what we want to do, but collaborate with some of these other nonprofits in order to kind of have a big nucleus with other neurons going out and everything else, that way we can help each other. And that's what a lot of nonprofits want to do anyways. So good stuff. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, I think that's probably perfect to kind of end this podcast. We're at 52 minutes. I don't know if you have anything else you want to share, Andrew, as in closing, or if you want to close this out.
Yeah, I think that was a great way to introduce the nonprofit. I'm looking forward to doing more podcasts, getting back into a more frequency with that. I know we both had a lot of things going on. We took a little bit of a hiatus, but to be able to incorporate No Lone Wolves into it, and I think it's going to be a really good thing going forward. Thank you to anybody who's been watching and listening, or whatever platform you are using for this. We're going to be cutting up clips. We're going to be doing a lot more social media pushes with our podcast, and looking forward, to working with anybody who wants to collaborate with us. Any other nonprofits that would like to collaborate, anybody knows anybody that would like to be a guest on our podcast, please reach out. We'd be more than honored to give you a voice, give your friends a voice, your uncle, aunt, grandfather, father, veterans, non-veterans alike. If you have a great story to tell, there's a good chance that we can put you on here. Thank you for everybody. Thank you for everybody for your service, both in the past and continued service. Happy Veterans Day. And
let me plug real quick, www.no-loan, LONE-wolves, WOLVES.org. Again, that's www.no-loan-wolves.org. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys stay blessed. And until next time, stay righteous.
Hey, happy Veterans Day, guys.